welcome to Intro to Art. Today is May 7th. As just like usual, make sure you have your paper, pencil, and an eraser for your tasks. Try to find some quiet space, ask questions, and attend office hours. Let's do our stress check. Just type into the chat box how you're feeling. Again, this just helps me see how you're doing, and especially because I have you twice, it's nice because then I get to see if it's changed, if it's gotten better, if it's gotten worse, or if it's just stayed the same, the way you feel. All right, so today's objectives, we're gonna understand the difference between shape and form, understand how to arrange elements so that they appear symmetrical or balanced, and understand ellipses in art can give the appearance of a 3D object. All right, let's go ahead and review our do now. So what do you see in this art piece? So when we're looking at this, it is, like you said, it's the Mona Lisa, and it is by Leonardo da Vinci. So Leonardo da Vinci was commissioned by Francesco del Giocondo, I don't know if I pronounced that right, to paint an oil painting. What that means was that this guy, Francesco del Giocondo, paid Leonardo da Vinci to do this oil painting. So this person was a silk merchant of Florence. So he sold silk. And what he wanted was for Leonardo da Vinci to paint a portrait of his wife that was intended to be hanged in their new home. So I copied that from online, and I feel like that wording's a little off. But what this guy, Francesco del Giocondo, wanted was for Leonardo da Vinci to paint his wife so that when they had it in the new home, they had a picture of his wife up. Okay. So that's a little bit of, I guess, history about the Mona Lisa. Mm-hmm. All right, so today what we're gonna work on is we're gonna create an original cupcake design that starts with simple shapes that are eventually connected to create complex forms. So notice a difference in the two drawings. One of them is very simple, one of them is more complex. From these two, which one looks more realistic? The one on the left or the one on the right?
Right.
The one on the right. The difference is that they added shading. So it's gonna be very difficult for me to do on my inscribed tablet. So I won't really be able to make it look realistic. I'll probably only be able to do the one on the left side, but I want you on your paper to give it a try and to try to do something like the one on the right. Now the vocabulary for today for art is balance. So the word balance means a principle of design. Balance refers to the way the elements of art are arranged to create a feeling of stability in a work. A pleasing or harmonious arrangement or proportion of arts of areas in a design or composition. That means there's like, so it's like a balance, right? There's a little bit of everything. There might be a little bit of, like they have shading and a little bit of simple form. So it just means that there's a lot of balance. So a lot of stability. Things are equal. An oval is an ellipse. So it's a two-dimensional shape that looks like a circle that has been stretched to make it longer. And that I'm sure you already knew. So we're gonna do our cupcake treats. So we're gonna start with a skinny oval.
Skinny oval.
Got your notebook?
Oh, skinny oval. Then we're gonna add slightly angled vertical lines on each side. So what that means is that we're gonna take our shape and we're gonna draw lines, but the lines should not go like this. They should not be straight down. What we are supposed to do is we're gonna make them at an angle. So what that means is it's gonna go this way. And then we're gonna do the one on the other side too. And then now we make a line down here, but we're not gonna make it straight, we're gonna make it curve a little bit.
Exact same curve from the cupcake.
What was that?
The exact same curve.
Now our next step is gonna be to curve a zigzag pattern around the original oval. So zigzags are lines with like the little short, sharp angles. So we're gonna take our shape and we're gonna make little zigzags. around the shape. Now, once you've done that, draw vertical lines coming from the zigzag points. So from each zigzag point, so notice from each point, so I touch the end of the zigzag and I make a line down. At the bottom point of each zigzag, that's where you're gonna draw your line. While you do that, I'm gonna go ahead and redo mine because so notice that what I'm doing is from each end of the zigzag at the bottom, that's where I'm making the line. Okay. Now your next step is gonna be to add the dollop of frosting. Now we're gonna add the frosting edges, and then you can even put a candy on top. So you might do just some curves like that. To make it look kind of like the frosting at the top. And then you might add your candy. You can add a candy like they do, or you can even add your own ideas. As you can see from mine, I added a cherry on the top just because that's what I personally like on my cupcakes. But you can go ahead and do the candy that they put on theirs. Your next step would be to add little details. So this is where it can get complicated and it's really hard to show here, but you want to go ahead and shade. One way to show shading is that you want to make more lines. You might want to make additional lines going down this way. And something you might want to do is you might want to color in every other line. And that'll, so for example, I'll do it like this. It'll kind of look like it's a striped design, but if you do it where it's light enough, it's not too dark, it'll look like shading. Obviously on this, it does not look like shading at all. If anything, it just looks like a striped mess. But hopefully you get the idea of what I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's on this, okay? Now, something you might want to do is you might want to color your cupcake. So for example, mine is a chocolate cupcake. So I'm going to color mine in a little bit, shade that in, make it dark. Now I'm going to pretend the sun is on, let's go with, maybe it's on this side. So the light is coming this way, meaning this side is shaded. Let me go ahead and erase that sun before it gets all confusing. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and color in a little bit of these lines. So I might wanna shade this. Might shade that. Just add a little bit of darkness in different areas. I might shade this. I might want to add some little candies on it. So some little circled candies. They have like those little drops of candies that you can add, and keep shading it. Just keep adding details. Now notice in this top cupcake that they did add a cherry without the stem.
Mm-hmm.
Did a swirl as their cupcake. That's another option. This one, they did do what we did, but instead of adding a topping at the end, they just did that. So just add whatever you want to add to your cupcake. So as you finish that, let me just go into our next steps. Make sure to complete the do now. Submit a picture of your assignment before our next session. And I know it says before 5/7, that should really be before 5/12. And then make sure to complete the do now once that's done. If you do have any questions, we have office hours Wednesdays and Fridays from 2 to 3 p.m.